Two women, who were prostitutes, decided to advertise their business in a rather bold way. They drove around town with a large sign on top of their car. The sign clearly read, "Two prostitutes, $50. A policeman, spotting this advertisement, quickly stopped them. He explained that they had two choices: either remove the sign immediately or face being taken to jail for soliciting in such a manner. Right at that moment, another car drove by. This car had a sign that proclaimed, "Jesus saves." One of the women, feeling a bit defiant, asked the officer, "How come you don't stop them?" The officer replied, "Well, that's a different situation. Their sign is about religion." Reluctantly, the two women removed their sign and drove away, not particularly pleased with the officer's response. However, the very next day, the same police officer was patrolling the area when he spotted the same two women driving around. To his surprise, they had a new large sign on their car. Thinking this would be an easy arrest, he started to pursue them. As he got closer, he read the new sign, which now cleverly stated, "Two fallen angels seeking Peter, $50. Little Johnny's mother had been closely monitoring his academic performance and noticed that his math grades were consistently getting worse. Concerned, she decided it was time to have a serious conversation with Johnny. She talked to him about showing more interest in math, being more responsible with his studies, and the importance of improving his grades. After the next quarter ended, Johnny's report card arrived, but to his mother's disappointment, his math grade was still unsatisfactory. Determined to understand why, she reached out to Johnny's math teacher, hoping to find a solution to the problem. Despite these efforts, Johnny's subsequent report card showed no improvement in math. Feeling increasingly desperate, Johnny's mother made a bold decision. She decided to transfer him to the local Catholic school, thinking a change of environment might help. To her surprise, she immediately noticed a significant change in Johnny's behavior. Every day, as soon as he returned from school, he would silently sit down at the table and start working on his math homework with focus and dedication. This was a stark contrast to his previous attitude. Over the next few weeks, it became clear that whatever was happening at the Catholic school was having a positive effect on Johnny's approach to math. His mother was thrilled when Johnny's next report card came, and he had earned an A in math. Overjoyed yet somewhat baffled by this sudden turnaround, she asked Johnny, "What is it about the Catholic school that made such a difference? What made you change your attitude towards math and improve your grade?" Johnny looked at his mother and said, "On the first day in my math class, when I saw that figure hanging from the huge plus sign above the chalkboard, I knew they weren't messing around." Dorothy and Edna, two senior widows, were having a heart-to-heart conversation one day. Dorothy began, "You know that charming George Johnson asked me out for a date. I remember you went out with him just last week, and I really wanted to talk to you about him before I decide whether to say yes to him." Edna, ready to share her experience, replied, "Well, let me warn you about what happened when I went out with him. George arrived at my place right on time at 7 p.m. He was dressed impeccably in a sharp suit, and he even brought me the most beautiful bouquet of flowers. Then he escorted me downstairs, and to my surprise, there was a luxurious limousine with a uniformed chauffeur waiting for us. He took me out for an absolutely wonderful dinner. We had lobster, champagne, a delightful dessert, and even after-dinner drinks. Following the dinner, he took me to see a show. Let me tell you, Dorothy, it was so enjoyable that I thought I was in heaven. But when we were on our way back to my apartment, he suddenly changed. He became like an animal. Totally wild, he ripped off my brand new, expensive dress, and, well, let's just say he was very passionate, not once but twice." Dorothy, shocked, exclaimed, "Good heavens! So, you're saying I shouldn't go out with him?" Edna replied, No, not at all. I'm just advising you. Make sure to wear an old dress." One sunny day, an epic competition was organized, a kind of celestial Olympics, with teams from heaven and hell. The event was filled with all sorts of contests. Angels from heaven competed against the demons from hell in various activities, like archery, jousting, sword fighting, and even tug-of-wars. The competition was fierce, and both teams showed immense skill and determination. After several days filled with these intense and exciting battles, the scores between the two teams were exactly even. To break the tie, God came up with a final challenge, a face-off between Jesus and the devil based on their computer skills. They would compete in tasks like making spreadsheets, designing web pages, and writing computer programs. They both sat down at their computers, and for 6 long hours, they worked intensely, their fingers flying over the keyboards. But then, out of nowhere, a massive thunderstorm hit and caused a power outage. When the power came back and they rebooted their computers, Satan was horrified. He started screaming in frustration. "It's all lost. Lost. All my hard work is completely gone." Meanwhile, Jesus was calmly printing out all the work he had done. He handed in his perfectly completed tasks without any sign of trouble. Satan, feeling cheated, complained loudly. "This isn't fair at all. He must have cheated somehow. Why didn't he lose his work like I did?" God, with a knowing smile, simply said, "Jesus saves." At 3 o'clock in the morning, in a luxurious hotel, the receptionist was struggling to stay awake at her desk. Just then, a little old lady came dashing towards her, clearly in a state of shock and panic. "Please come quickly," she cried out. "I just saw a naked man outside my window." The receptionist, now wide awake, immediately hurried up to the old lady's room to assist her. Once there, the receptionist asked, "Where is he?" The little old lady pointed towards an apartment building across from the hotel and said, "He's right over there." The receptionist peered out the window and saw a man in a nearby apartment. The man was shirtless and seemed to be moving around his room. Trying to calm the old lady, the receptionist said, "It looks like a man who's just getting ready to go to bed. And how do you know he's completely naked? From here, we can only see him from the waist up." In response, the old lady, almost screaming, exclaimed, "The dresser, honey. Try standing on the dresser."